Welcome in, everybody. Let's get it going. Man, might be the latest we ever have gone. This is my fault. I was lamenting. I did not win a backpacking permit. Again, yeah, no, definitely my fault. Um, really wanted those enchantments backpacking permits, but alas, I guess I'm going to have to do the 26 mile hike in a single day again this year, but is what it is. Scott, how are you doing?
I'm doing just fine. You need permits to walk trails?
It's such a fragile ecosystem and it's so popular that if they don't, it will be destroyed in a year. So
I gotcha. I can live with that.
Yep. It's. I mean, I get it. Bureaucracy and government control sucks, but at the same time,
Overpopulation,
if you don't do
See,
it, then it.
I'm on the Agent Smith side of things, from the Matrix. You never saw them, or you didn't see the Matrix, or you didn't
Mhm.
it didn't quite resonate with you. But,
I was young.
there's only one other organism on this planet that goes and consumes a virus.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome in, everybody.
Welcome in. Yeah, didn't get the enchantments permits, but that's okay. One of my friends got the permits for Rainier, so I'm gonna see if I can talk about being a virus. Trying to get in on that one, but we'll see. We got TWI guys. Ethan, really enjoyed talking with you yesterday. Got to give him a shout out. Eventually, I'll wear him down to the linebackers don't matter point of view, but today's not that day. Thank you so much,
Got
Ethan.
one.
Unless you got one.
Unless you got a game changer.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a little fun tongue in cheek. We got Jay Roper saying, dang, ol' yo. Oh, King of the Hill. There we go. Where's Uncle Scott at in the chat? The banner change looks amazing. EJ's in the house. Good morning, Nick and Scott. We got EJ with our first comment or first topic of the day. Broncos are signing Tom Compton, tackle from 49ers. Played right tackle last year for the 49ers. And first, just a little station identification. Mile High Huddle here, guys. This is Broncos over breakfast. If you've never joined us before, Scott and I go live every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. You can follow us. Scott is at Scout Kennedy, and I am at Nick Kendell MHH. Make sure you're please, when you're coming in, clicking the thumbs up, clicking the like button. Don't have that many yet. Aaron Johnson, shout out to Aaron Johnson with the like there on the Facebook side of things. But if you guys are joining us today, please click the thumbs up and like, subscribe, and share if you are on YouTube. We got our first super coming in. Casey Nickel. I love it. I absolutely love Russell Wilson. I don't care. He's a cornball. He's our cornball now. Let's ride. Did you notice he's been ending all his press conferences, interviews, etc. Let's ride. I mean, this guy's a branding, image creating machine. Let's ride.
Yeah, I that's good for me. And I got that one confused with let's roll. Let's roll has a different meaning. I'm like, that one, I don't know if you want to take that one, but it was let's roll. So let's ride is okay. Let's roll is the one that's kind of been taken from another meaning for those of you that don't remember 9/11. That one's a little off limits to some.
Yeah, well, it's let's ride. Which
Yeah, this was different. That was my fault. I apologize. I didn't say anything until I just figured it out that I was wrong. I'm like, because I'm not the overly sensitive type when it comes to these type of things, but I know there are people that are, and I was like, people are going to jump on that one. I'm like, wait, that's my mistake.
Let's ride. Morning from C. Beeston. Good to see you. Luke Wright in the house. Good morning, Nick and Scott. Oh, if you have the coffee emoji, I think I need to. There we go. I accidentally ordered a bunch of bags that were bean instead of already grinded. So I need to, at some point, sit down and make a lot of coffee for my wife and I, but that's okay.
Hold on. I want to hit this one. It says, it's Toy NW. I think it was close to Scott. As a Broncos and Liverpool fan, I find your background awful. I get that. I tell you what, though, I watched the replay last night of the Arsenal-Liverpool game, and I found that result wonderful. I actually enjoyed it. One, I want to see a title race. Two, I probably root against Arsenal more than just about anybody. Yeah. And three, right now, I haven't had the Chelsea up in a while. I figured now is the time when you got to show your support. When your team's in crisis, that's when you prove you're a fan. So that's we're gonna have this background up for the time being.
Yeah, and the Broncos have been in crisis for a bit, but not anymore. Got it. Everybody, talking about Tom Compton on yesterday on the internet. Again, Broncos signing offensive lineman from the 49ers, probably going to be the right tackle next year at this point in time. Everybody panicking, and I get it. The AFC pass rushers are elite. I mean, this division is loading up. I don't remember the last time we've seen a division as thorough and as talented as this one is right now. Man, it's first world problems we're talking about now. Now that this Broncos organization has somewhat exited their crisis and found themselves a quarterback. So yes, is Tom Compton an elite tackle? Is he going to confuse anybody for Tristan Wirfs? No. But oh my God, arguing about tackles rather than arguing about quarterbacks, my soul is my heart is full. I'm loving life. Let's get mad about tackles because God, it's so much better than nothing matters because the quarterback isn't good enough.
Yeah, let's talk about, oh, does this mean Lael Collins is out of it? Maybe. I didn't see the Tom Compton thing till this morning. So what are the deals? Or is it just that this is imminent, Nick? Help me out here.
I have not seen any numbers yet, and if anybody has seen any numbers, please share them with us. But I can't imagine it is a big deal. Tom Compton's been a kind of fringe starter, backup right tackle guard for most of his career. And last year when Mike McGlinchey on the 49ers went down, Tom Compton stepped up and stepped in at right tackle and performed pretty darn well. He was not elite by any means, but especially as a pass protector, which is concerning. But he was really, really, really highly graded as a run blocker, had the second highest run blocking grade of any tackle, or excuse me, he had the fourth highest run blocking grade of any tackle in football last season, behind Trent Williams, Tyron Smith, and Lael Collins, 3 names that you guys should know. So Tom Compton was there. His pass blocking grade, though, was much lower, unfortunately, 43rd out of 68. So he's going to be an issue in pass protection. But I do think he is an improvement on Bobby Massey, and he's also a scheme fit. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you know, it matters who you know. The Broncos' new offensive line coach, Butch Berry, coming over as the assistant offensive line coach previously with the 49ers, obviously has a relationship, knows Tom Compton's, has worked with Tom Compton. Now Tom Compton is here in Denver and likely the right tackle next season. Right now, he's not going to be elite. You're going to have to do some stuff schematically to help him in the pass protection. But guess what? People are like, oh man, why didn't I get filet mignon? You were ordering off a Hardee's menu. Like that's just it for the right tackle market. There was no stakes there. You were getting cheap fast food burgers.
And he's not going to come in under a kind of salary that says, okay, this is it. We're done. Okay, this is the guy. He's going to be someone that comes in and say, okay, we've got competition. This is a good body to have. I'll tell you what, I'm going to bring up his PFF stuff, Nick.
Yeah, but first, Diamond Rattler. Russ changed my let's go to let's ride. I'm cool with it. I'm still celebrating my 316. Ha ha ha. Thank you so much, Diamond. Yeah, I'm still celebrating yesterday too. It was so fun to hear him talk, the energy he brings, him and Hackett, and almost like Peyton is like overwhelmed because he's like the cool, collected, analytical, businessman, not too high, not too low. And then you have freaking Nathaniel Hackett like tripping over himself talking about Sierra and cussing in front of Russell Wilson's kid, and then Russell Wilson's like genuine energy. So man, it's the press conferences this year are going to be fun, no doubt about that.
So these are the PFF grades for the final half of the season. You see, he started. Let me see if I can move this. Where's my cursor? I got too many screens. He started the playoffs, and when you first pop open his PFF account, and remember, we take PFF with a grain of salt, but they're a decent guide. They are a guide. They're not the Bible. This isn't the law. This isn't how I'm going to be making my draft decisions or my free agent decisions, but they are a nice guide. With that said, you see, you open it up, and it's like his overall blocking grade was like 87. Well, that's elite. You're like, okay, great as a player. And he played 600 snaps or so in the regular season. Okay, so he was a part-time guy. I guess what would be concerning on my part, if I'm going to try and play the opposite side of this, is if you look at the trends on this. When he first got in, he did really well. You see the green and blues. Those are great numbers in here, 90s, 80s, et cetera, et cetera. But then once they got to the playoffs and the competition ramped up a little bit, his play went down. And you're talking about, okay, he was an elite run blocker. Well, was he? That becomes a question here, because if you go by his playoff numbers, you're looking to upgrade on these numbers. Now, that doesn't mean you can't. Again, he's 6'6", 315, 33 years old. You're bringing a veteran presence in here, an adult in the room, so to speak. But again, I don't think this is somebody that you can automatically pencil in as the right tackle for the 2022 season. You're bringing in more depth. This is another guy to come in and compete, and isn't somebody that's going to preclude you from trying to still try and upgrade the right tackle position. Those are my thoughts based on what I see here.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back to the Tom Compton discussion here in a second. We got Rob coming in. Good morning, Nick and Scott. So much to be excited for. Let's get Collins and win a Super Bowl. Clee coming in saying, so excited to have a pro quarterback again. Absolutely, Clee, with the red snapper picture. Good morning from Sean Burns. Robert Caslow. What's up, my Bronco maniacs? Mike Givens in the house. Oh, we got C. Patrick Havner first with the stars. Thank you so much, C. Patrick. We appreciate you. A cute picture there with the family. Mike Gibbons in the house. Good morning, Broncos country. It's always great for us this season. It looks great for us this season. Always a great show, guys. Giving us the great show before we've even taken off. Really, 10 minutes in. Appreciate it, Mike Gibbons.
And you were late, and you were late, so it better be a great show. We got some making up to do. That's for sure. No,
I
we
was
usually
lamenting.
make up for it by going an hour and a half.
I know. I also think nobody probably gets more words per show in per minute. The rate of words than this guy right here, firing it off, man. We got it's mumble rapping. Jeremy Sean saying, feeling excited. We're back, baby. Absolutely. We got Jay Wusso 989. Von's agent should be getting a pay raise. How did he get 6 years? Yeah, Von Miller's
I want to hit
contract.
on that one.
Yeah.
Because I tried to say it in the chat and I couldn't get those guys to say it yesterday. The real numbers for Von's deal is 353.
Yeah.
3 years, 53 million. The rest is fluff. He'll never see, 6 years, 120 million. No. This is one of those old-fashioned contracts where half of that money, more than half of that money, he'll never see. So it's still great deal. I think 235 was to start, and then we're gonna add another year. So his real number on that is 353, 354. Going 17.5 a season for 3 years is a pretty good deal for him. I heard Zach say something about cashing out like Von did. I'm like, cashing out? Come on, man. He went to the Bills. It's not like he went to Detroit Lions for 353. No offense, Detroit Lions. I get it. He went to the Bills. He got paid and he's going to a Super Bowl contender. Come on, man. Yeah. So that's those are the numbers to think about, and that's still a great contract for Von, no doubt.
Yeah, he is in line to be the first non-quarterback ever to earn $200 million in his career as an NFL player. So won't be the last, obviously. Inflation, more and more money going into the NFL. Salary cap exploding here pretty soon with the new TV deals on the way. But congrats, Von Miller, getting that bag. Also getting to play with a team that has a beyond a competent quarterback on the other side. He's going to get a chance to earn himself some sacks. I'm really excited about the inside-outside games they're going to be able to play with Ed Oliver there in Buffalo. Jay Roper,
good luck on your biochem test today, Jay.
Absolutely. Miguel coming in. Good morning, Miguel. Good morning, fellas. Do you think the Broncos will re-sign Bryce on a 1-year deal after the Tom Compton signing? We can get back to Tom Compton as well. But after the Tom Compton signing, in my humble opinion, the last true dire hole on this team is the slot cornerback position. Yes, it'd be better if you could upgrade Tom Compton and have him be a depth piece, but I don't think you are as desperate as you were before. Calvin Anderson versus Tom Compton at right tackle. It's going to be an area you're probably going to want to address again next offseason, but you raise the floor of the room. You raise the floor of the offensive line on the whole. Guy who knows the scheme, guy who's worked outside zone, wide zone scheme, inside guard ability, right tackle ability. And if Calvin Anderson beats him, God bless, man. That'd be awesome. Good for Calvin Anderson. If not, Tom Compton's there. So at right tackle, I think you're okay. I don't love it, but again, I'm just having such a hard time getting worked up about it after the years of discussing the quarterback. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's a tackle. We'll figure it out. But you have a quarterback now, so you have a chance to figure it out and have it matter. But Bryce Callahan, yes. If he is available, I'd be definitely interested in signing him. I'm also a little interested in Deontay Jackson from Carolina, who's mostly played outside, but he's got the size to be a slot corner off ball, and he's graded better in zone than man. And Isaiah Oliver, somebody that you know quite well, Scott, who I thought looked really good in zone, brings a little bit more length than you'd expect for the nickel spot. Still young, coming off an injury, been a solid tackler as well. I would be very interested in Isaiah Oliver coming here and being a third cornerback for this team.
Yeah, looking at Randy Gregory's cap number is ridiculous. It's like 6. Yeah. And then I started sorting and I remembered how good the Broncos were with their salary cap. And I was like, okay, well, 6 is actually fairly high for the Broncos last year. Bryce Callahan was 8.5. It was like 8.25. So you got Randy Gregory for 3/4 of what you paid Bryce Callahan last year. Now is Bryce Callahan an $8.5 million cornerback? So are you bringing him back? I wouldn't bring him back on that price any more than I'd bring back Melvin Gordon at 8. There's other options I would rather go out and get. Now, coming off an injury, what's his market gonna be? Can you get him a 1-year deal? Hey, come back. Let's build your value back up. Come win a championship. Go get a Super Bowl MVP as the guy who's covering the slot and has to go take Cooper Kupp one-on-one and turn yourself into a $15 million corner. That's the sales pitch. Get healthy, get right, get paid. But if he's out there looking to try and max out right now, I wouldn't bring him back for 8+ on a multi-year deal. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, Bryce Callahan, if he wants to come back, that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. I do personally want to get younger and cheaper and more upside if I can extinguish or catch those options first. But I would have zero issue bringing Bryce Callahan back. We got Jacob Foster coming in. No issues with Jacob Foster coming back. Good to see you, Jacob. Hope you're doing well. And as we always say, Jacob, if you have any questions for us, make sure you get at us. We'd be happy to help you and answer that for you. But we really appreciate the support. We also got Automatic Domain coming in on
Yeah,
Twitch.
that's an interesting screen name, but we like hitting our Twitch folks. Did you
Yeah,
block Dave on purpose, or was that an accident?
that was an accident.
US
I,
Dave was blocked.
I was trying to block a bot. I'm gonna have to have Chad get rid of that
Yeah,
one.
I'll go in and see if I can't find Dave. Dave, go over to YouTube. Go over to Facebook. Go over to Facebook, Dave. Hello, Dave.
That was
Sorry
my
about
bad,
that.
Dave.
Yeah,
There was a
sorry about
bot
that.
in here.
You go to start do somebody, and it's kind of like playing that Frogger when you're like, I want to click on something on the screen, and then the ad loads, and it pushes down. You click the ad, you're like, damn it.
Yep.
That's kind of what we just did to Dave. Sorry, Dave.
I will let Chad know as well. Dave, I'm so sorry, buddy. Automatic Domain, what is your early prediction for our overall record and divisional record based off the moved Denver's have made so far? I'm gonna put them at 10 and a half wins right
I was gonna say
now.
11-6.
Okay, 10 and a
Mm-hmm.
half. I know everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid right now, but I gotta see it. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
new variables here that the new coaching staff, the division is crazy tough. You still have a couple holes there. I need to see what the offensive line looks like. Just there's so many new variables. So I'm leaning into the 10 and a half seems like the number right now. That's a playoff team. But I need to see it all come together before I'm fully, immersed, bathing in the orange Kool-Aid for the Broncos.
Yeah, there were 4 teams, 5 teams, I guess, that were better than 6 teams that were better than us. So more than I thought. So 11-6, I think it's about right. That puts you in the top 8, which is
Yeah,
what we've talked about. There's some strong teams out there. And if you're in the top
yeah,
8, you're in the discussion. Team that went to the Super Bowl from the AFC was 10-7. Get right, get everything going the right direction. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll see some team go out there and go on a 16-1, a 15-2 type of run, but just watching these teams last year, I literally got the baseball feeling. It's like, oh yeah, we're going to go out and try and win 2 out of 3. Win the series, win 2 out of 3, and let's get right for the playoffs. That's the way the NFL is going with all these games.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Automatic Domain. And US Steve, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to figure out how to unblock you. I messaged
I don't
Chad and
think you
Scott.
can. I might be able to, but not while we're doing this live.
Okay, well, US Dave, I am we owe you one. I'm sorry about that. If you went, make sure you get us on Monday. We're gonna talk to whatever you want to talk about. The DWI guys are coming in 33-33. I love how the Rams say F them picks. However, they and San Fran were awarded 5 compensatory picks yesterday. Shake my head. Yeah, they don't really say F them picks totally. They say let's go get the comp game. And also another team winning the comp pick formula game year after year. Baltimore Ravens signing Zadarius Smith, bringing him back to Baltimore after he's cut. You know what really helps you there? When a guy's cut, they don't count towards the compensatory pick formula. No team since the comp picks have become a thing has been awarded more compensatory picks than the Baltimore Ravens. They are getting it done right. Unfortunately, historically, that means that you are not people would be freaking out. Broncos fans would be freaking out because in order to win the comp pick game, typically you are not making the big splashes in free agency. You are getting those scraps players. But if you're a good enough team at drafting and constantly paying your own guys, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Then you can get those scraps. So Broncos aren't there yet. Hopefully a few more drafts from Peyton. Then you can start to be able to signing our own guys, filling in the rest of a roster with cuts, and then you can play that comp pick game.
And at least one of those 5 are going to be a stud. That's just the way the math works out. It's all about probability. You've got a 60% hit rate in the first round, a 40% in the second round. It goes down into 20% in the fifth round and becoming okay. Well, I got 5 picks, 20%, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Okay, one of those guys is going to be somebody. So I like the idea. I always like the idea of more arrows in the quiver. Like I said, when I'm doing some of those mocks, trading down becomes addictive, especially when a team like Jacksonville offers you a 2023 first. Yes, please. I'll take that. I'll take your top 5 pick. So yeah, that's a good way to do it. Not necessarily because you're getting something back. And what's nice, it's not like baseball where that pick comes from the other team. It comes from the league. You just kind of add them on. Baseball, that was one of the big talking points in the lockout was It's like, wait, if he's he's going to cost me a first round pick, but that's not a free agent. That's restrictive. So I kind of like it. If you draft a guy and develop him and lose him, at least a little payback is nice.
Yeah. No, I like the comp pick formulas. I also like it that they're doing it for minority coaches and stuff being moved. Just, gosh, obviously what they've done so far as promoting minority coaches hasn't worked. Maybe, throw something else at the wall. Maybe this will work. I'm not educated enough or smart enough to have a solution to that, but I know that it is a problem. So, screaming about it doesn't help that much.
Trying to solve that for 10,000 years.
I know. Yeah, John Clay Evington coming in here, $10. Good morning, gents. You guys from the start this time. That's great, John. It's good to see you. Favorite MHH team? Well, hopefully the Broncos are your favorite MHH. No, thank you so much. That's really nice. Do you guys see Peyton using all his draft picks, or does he move around the board for guys he wants most? I think given Peyton's proclivity, is that the word I'm looking for? Propensity. Oh my God, proclivity is a joke from a podcast my wife listens to. Propensity to listen to or to need 10 draft picks per class. I'm guessing there will be some moving around in draft day and on draft day, but maybe not as much moving up and targeting guys, but more so moving down and collecting more 2023 capital. The Broncos already kind of
7 picks for the Broncos.
I heard them say 9, but there's a lot of talk about there's a 7th round pick that they were going to get from the Lions that maybe they didn't get because something about Cleveland. Like I don't know how it all worked, but I think they probably have about. I keep seeing 7. I don't know where the
Tankathon said 7, and for some reason I thought it was like double digits. Was it at one point? Where'd they lose some of these picks?
There's a 7th round pick that was maybe a part of the Trendon Holiday trade that is up in the air right now. And also I don't know where the Kerry Vincent Jr. trade pick is as well. So I thought it was 9, but I think there's 2 7th round picks that are in question right now. So I don't know. I haven't.
You're talking 5 of the top 116, 6 of the top 145. You're going to want to use those. Now you could bundle those together and move up. Go get your right tackle. You're not gonna stand still. It's not gonna just you've got 64, 75, 96, etc., etc. You're not just that gets boring. Peyton's not gonna sit still like that. I don't think.
Yeah, and the NFL revealed the draft order, all 7 rounds, yesterday, and we have Denver has 64, 75, 96, 115, 116, 145 round 5,
251,
and then 206, which is
that was not on
6.
Tankathon.
They have 223.
That one's not on Tankathon. Again, I was like, I thought it was more than 7.
Yep. So they have from NFL.com. Those are the ones that they have. So Tankathon probably not. Sometimes there's like conditional picks that you don't know if they're actually awarded until
I'd take NFL.com's word for it. I trust that. Yeah. The official draft order, that sounds pretty good. They just haven't updated the database on Tankathon yet, which is okay.
Yep, absolutely. Travis coming in. Morning, fellas. Listening in as usual. Good to see you, Travis. Glad to see we sign another tackle. Just don't know much about him. Denver Broncos for life. So, let's get into Tom Compton again, since some people didn't join us here earlier on that. Tom Compton is coming from the 49ers. And first off, he is a dynamic run blocker. Now, I do think that his really elite run blocking grade is somewhat inflated because it is the 49ers and no team has schemed open the run game as well as the 49ers. The 49ers also do a great job. I mean, they have Trent Williams, they have Kyle Juszczyk, they have Deebo Samuel, they have George Kittle. That's going to make your job easier for your right tackle because of the system around them. They're not going to have their jobs are going to be easier to complete and grade higher. So I don't think that he is the 4th best run blocking tackle in football. But he's definitely going to be a plus player in that regard for the Broncos. The pass protection is somewhat scary. I know a lot of people left a bad taste in their mouth in the NFC divisional round where Rashawn Gary absolutely beat the living bleep out of Tom Compton. And I think that's people are reactionary to that because they saw that, whatever. I think Rashawn Gary is a top 8 edge rusher in the NFL headed into next season. Keep an eye on him. He is there's a reason the Packers were fine moving on from Zadarius Smith. Rashawn Gary is unbelievable.
He was. I've told you the story before. I saw him as a junior in high school, and he was 290 pounds then.
Yeah.
And he was working out with some. So he was a sophomore at the time because it was a class ahead. Working out with the guys up in New Jersey. This camp I was at with guys that were 5 stars. They'd flown in for this thing. I mean, huge. I'm like, hell, that's the best player right there. That's a future number 1 overall.
Yep.
And if we didn't have him number 1 overall coming out of high school, but again, he was 285, 290 pounds as a sophomore, and I had his combine numbers from the opening, and I put him up next to the 300 anybody between like 280 and 300 pounds in the NFL draft that year, the combine numbers, and you wouldn't have been able to tell who was who. And so him coming down and slimming down a little bit and even increasing that athleticism, it's no shame getting beat by a guy like that if and when he finally put it all together. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah, and they didn't really know what to do with him at Michigan because of his size and athletic
Yeah, I was
profile.
like, D tackle, right? Okay,
No, but
or gigantic Reggie White end, or what? What do we do with him?
end is the move, because if you're that athletic at that size, you're going to have more space to operate at the edge spot. And there's a big reason that I've been comparing Javon Walker to Rashawn Gary. I mean, he's 275. He moves like an off-ball linebacker. Okay, like that's awesome that he's that big.
Yeah,
Now
the
you have a plus
exception to
play.
the rule.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. If you're that big, that's amazing. There is something to be said about having that size, especially on base downs. Now you have a pass rusher on base downs. Anyway, we're too much Rashawn Gary. Tom Compton got the bleep beat out of him by Rashawn Gary. And Nick, the Broncos are also going to have Bosa. They're also going to have Chandler Jones. They're going to have Khalil Mack. They're going to have, I guess we can throw in, oh gosh, what's his name? Frank Clark as well. Yes, I am concerned about that, but it's not too dissimilar from last year. If anything, I'd say Tom Compton is he's a same level pass protector as Bobby Massey was, but a exceptionally better, degrees of freedom difference better run blocker, and specifically in this scheme. So I don't think Tom Compton is the long-term solution at right tackle, but he raises the floor. Let's say you're sitting there at pick 64 and Abraham Lucas goes, Bernard Raymond goes pick 31 to the Bengals, and then Abraham Lucas goes pick 40 to the Seahawks. They need offensive tackle help. Well, bleep. Now we don't have a tackle there. You know what? You're going to be okay. You probably still have to take a developmental tackle, but you raise the floor of the room where you don't have to be totally desperate to go get that guy. And I know it's not great. It's not elite, but you're not going to have elite players at every single position. So Broncos will have to do some scheming to protect Russell Wilson's right side. They'll probably have to lean on the run game a little bit more to lean into Tom Compton's strengths, and also more play action passing to freeze those edge rushers a bit, not let them pin their ears back. But still, that's something that it's an improvement on last season, and it's a scheme fit, and it should help the run game as well. And I'm hoping Tom Compton next to Quinn Miners on their right side, if that's what it's going to be, a lot of fun with the run game with Javonte Williams there, especially with the RPO looks. So they're going to have to scheme it up to help him a bit, but that's okay. That's true for most right tackles.
I like it when general managers and coaches address the obvious and don't try and prove that they're that much smarter than him. Dan Reeves, God bless him, drove me nuts. I'm like, instead of taking this beast of a man over at Georgia, I'm going to go draft this kid that tested really well from Southwest Louisiana, Jacksonville State, just to show everybody what a great evaluator of talent I am. It's like, man, do the obvious. Yeah. How many times have we said the obvious was when the Broncos were getting beat, they were getting bullied in the trenches? Yeah. What do? They go out and get DJ Jones, a guy that can actually, that is just a high motor, run stuffing. I can move him around, versatile guy. Then they go out and get one of the best run blockers around in Tom Compton. Let's address the obvious. Well, and that quarterback spot. Yeah, that was kind of a hole too. So, there's obvious holes. There's obvious ways to improve a very good roster, and they're getting it. Dave coming in, you guys may gain another fan in Broncos country. Dave's upset that the Falcons might move for Deshaun Watson, and there's going to be some back and forth that goes on that for sure, but we can get into that another time. So say welcome to Dave, everybody.
Yeah, welcome, Dave. Not U.S. Dave. Gosh darn it, Nick, you stupid.
You're going to have to send him a Broncos for breakfast mug.
Yeah, God, yeah. Joey giving me a hard time. Good job, Nick. I feel so bad. Hopefully U.S. Dave is still listening. If you get blocked, can you even watch anymore, or can you just not comment? I don't know.
I don't know. If you're blocked, you might not be able to watch at all.
Oh, Dave, God. I'm such a jerk. Kathy's in the house, too. In Northern Germany, we say Moin. So, Moin, guys.
Moan.
Moan. I am German.
Good morning, guys.
One of my best friends is German, and I do not speak the language other than to tease him. We got Kyle Olsen.
I like the non-time ones, when it's like 11:30 and you're walking the dog, or it's like 12:30 and you're walking the dog. Like, good morning. I'm like, crap, it's noon. I like the Australian g'day. Or as always, aloha. I love it.
Yeah. My favorite is untranslatable words in the English language that other countries and languages have. So one of my favorite words of all time is Walden Samkite, which is the feeling of being lost and alone and like floating in the woods, in the
Oh, I
wilderness.
think I think
That's
my
my favorite.
favorite on that one is Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude's good too. I also like Como Rebi, which is the what the lights making like rays through leaves and trees. That's no English word for that, but that's a Japanese one. I love that. Kyle Wilson. Good morning to you, Kyle. Good to see you. We got Michael Kerr in the house too. Good morning, Broncos people. It's awesome to see. David's in the house. Let's ride. Robert saying Neil would be a good slot quarterback from our Matrix conversation earlier.
That'd be okay.
Yeah, he'd be good. Honestly, I think I kind of want him on edge. You know, the offensive lineman trying to block him, and he's just sitting there. He has to be moving forward rather than just standing there. But
Neil can be wherever he wants to be. We're off the rails here. Let's get back with Bryce here. Bryce, welcome in. I know that Zach, you were in the other chat the other day and got a chance to say hello. And I was like, I know Bryce. Bryce has been in here a bunch already. So good morning again. At this point, I think getting Ty Matthew would be a huge pickup. Stearns would get a snap, so don't worry about that. Ty played a lot of snaps in the slot. I reference Ty Matthew as just, you know, a glue guy. It's like, what do you need him to do? That's what he can do. He's a little bit undersized. He's a little bit under speed. He was never a combine warrior. He's just a football player. But I need him. Honey Badger, I need you to go make a play on this guy. Okay, I'll go do it, coach. The guy just makes plays. Just pure football player. So I think adding him to the team and just figuring out where you want to use him would be a great idea if it's affordable. You know, we're not the only ones that think, hey, this is a pretty good football player here.
Yeah, I love his. If the Broncos truly do want to live in base, in sub package and dime, going forward, I think Tyrann Mathieu would actually be a solid pickup. I love the narrative. Bringing in Mathieu to go against the Chiefs. I think there's a little bit of juice there, and like we need some more juice for this Broncos Chiefs drive. I mean, bringing over Honey Badger and then beating the Chiefs, just the content would be exquisite. It'd be amazing. But I love also his versatility. If the Broncos are going to, like I said, live with 6+ defensive backs, as much as being mentioned right now, the Rams with Ivero last year, the highest rate, actually the last 2 years, the highest rate of dime packages of any NFL defense at all. Mathieu's versatility is huge. Last year, he, according to Pro Football Focus, logged 504 snaps in the box, 241 snaps in the slot, and 308 snaps as a free safety. That's the perfect role for a versatile kind of defensive back who's going to play that robber role for a defense that's living in sub or in nickel and dime defense. So I would be interested for sure. And everybody's like, oh, what about Caden Stearns? There's going to be plenty of snaps for all of them. You need 3 cornerbacks and 3 safeties. And I'm sorry, I was really excited about Jamar Johnson when they drafted him because of his ball production, getting a lot of hype from that one Ohio State game. I get it. But he got injured last year. He brought nothing to special teams. And as far as I'm concerned, they should be treating him like they should have treated Justin Strnad last year. We're not even sure if you're going to make the team, buddy. You're going to have to bring something extra. But depending on a 5th-round pick that showed diddly last year is bad business, especially for a team that probably wants to play a lot of 3 safety looks.
I've got Mathis ringing in my ears, so I hope I didn't call him Ty Mathis. So
you called him Matthews.
Okay.
Mathieu.
Either way, I was like, I got an echo in my head ringing in my ear that I screwed up his name. So Mathieu. That's why we say Honey Badger.
Mathieu. Yep. Tyrann Mathieu. We also got Jasmine in the house. Sup, guys? Good to see you, Jasmine.
Good morning, Jasmine.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Gosh, man, I'm really excited about that. So the Broncos, I don't know how much money they have left. I haven't seen the exact details of the DJ Jones
it's about 16, yet. But 16 to 40.
Yeah.
Depending on what you wanted to do, and you can move some things around as we've seen. So there's enough money there that the Broncos, if they decided they wanted to go get one guy, they could get whatever one guy they wanted.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Jasmine coming in, showing the support. We appreciate you, Jasmine. If the Broncos don't make any more huge splashes, bringing on more weapons, do you think we can still be competitive this upcoming year? The Broncos are going to be competitive this upcoming year as long as Russell Wilson is healthy. I really respect the work of Deontay Lee and Seth Galina. They do work for Pro Football Focus, but it's much more the scheme side of things. They actually recorded their last podcast yesterday. I'm curious to see what they have next. I think Deontay Lee is a ascending star in the media side of things. He's he talks football so well. It's amazing. But they were talking about their concerns about Russell Wilson and how his game could degrade given his height. And they don't think he can probably operate the middle of the field like a Drew Brees, given his height, and just his career heat map to date just has not worked the middle of the field. So like what Nathaniel Hackett did with the dagger routes with Aaron Rodgers, probably not going to be replicable with Russell Wilson. They're going to have to change that a little bit. It's going to be a lot of outs, going to be a lot of sales, going to be a lot of nines, which is fine. But there is some concern long term. It seems from the general talking heads about Russell Wilson's, talking 8 to 12 years playing. So we'll see. He's still going to be a top 10 quarterback. And what he does, he is elite at. He has to be elite at to do it and be as good as he is. And he is. So we'll see. But the Broncos are 100% going to be competitive next season, even with no more splashes. This team is probably not good to go right now, but there's still like some depth moves that need to be made and will be made to fill out this roster.
What was this team? 7-7 last year?
Yes, they were 7-10. But
no. At one point though, they lost their
yes.
last 3 games, right? So they were 7-7. So they were competitive, playing some bad football, but there's a lot of bad football to go around. Marginal upgrades will make you a legit playoff contender, because they were 7-7 and in the playoff hunt all the way to like week 15, 16.
Yeah.
There's been huge upgrades, monster upgrades. Now, can it come all together? Does Nathaniel Hackett these days, man, this guy's a joke. He's a hokey goofball. We're not playing for this guy. I don't think that's going to happen, but you don't know for sure. But yeah, this roster as it stands right now is a deep run playoff type of roster. And yes, they are a Super Bowl contender. Are they favorites? No. I think we all have pretty much agreed that until someone knocks off the Chiefs right now, that they're the favorites. The Chargers look a little bit scary. The Bengals are still on the upswing. We know where their gigantic holes are. They're going to address those too. They're going to be pretty good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. You're in the conversation instead of, oh yeah, Denver got off to a 3-0 start. Let's wait till they play somebody and they'll disappear. It's going to be fun. They're going to be in the conversation until January.
Yep. Absolutely. They will be in the conversation until January. And if they don't make the playoffs, it'll be a big upset. But it's going to be tough. I will say something you guys know. I'm a big math nerd. Football Outsiders uses a formula to calculate a statistic they call Pythagorean wins. And I know that you baseball heads out there probably know what that is as well. And they mainly use a point differential as a reason for a team what their record should be versus what it is. And it's more predictive for the next season than is what the actual record was. The Raiders last year went 10-7 with a negative 65 point differential. They were the only team with a negative point differential to make the playoffs or even have a winning record, which shows you how much of an outlier they were. Their Pythagorean wins was 6.8. The Broncos' Pythagorean wins last year, I think, was 8.9 or maybe even higher. So you should expect a bounce back for the Broncos last year. Even if they had put out the same exact team, this upcoming season as they did last year, you would expect them to be better than they were given their output.
I said as early as week 6, Nick, this team quit on Fangio. Just quit. You could see it. They were done. They were done with this. This guy's gone. He's a dead man walking.
Yep.
And nothing could say, oh, does he win this game or that game? Can he save his job? Nothing at that point could convince me he was coming back.
Yep. Absolutely.
Travis coming and saying, I've heard your Falcons. Speaking of the opposite end of that Pythagorean win thing, I think I've seen that the Atlanta Falcons 7-10 was the worst 7-10 team of all time.
Yep.
Or at least 7-win team of all time at negative 100 and something point differential.
Yeah.
Just dug in, and Deshaun Watson resonates now that you don't have to worry about the quarterback position. There's still a lot of talk about the quarterback position going on, and Deshaun Watson is a big piece of that. I know he's a good QB, but I wouldn't touch him at all. Just curious on your thoughts. My thoughts on this, and Nick has kind of hit on this a little bit, is one, as a pundit here, I'm not an investigative reporter. I'm not doing those type of things, but there are people on payroll who of these teams that have to do the background searches and do all these private investigators things. And as soon as he was cleared of criminal charges, teams are lining up. They're absolutely lining up. So they know the backlash of, what this guy is accused for. I've seen some women reporters saying, you're basically saying, if you want Deshaun Watson, screw them girls, to hell with them. We don't care about that anymore. And I understand, but I don't know that for sure. I don't know all the facts. So purely on a football stance, I'd like to give the teams a benefit of the doubt in this case because I want to, because I like Deshaun Watson. He's from here. He's a smart kid. I don't know all the facts in the case, so I'm not going to judge. But I know that there are teams that are lining up, half a dozen or more, that are even just to get in the room with this guy and try and make a huge deal for him. It would be interesting for this city, and whoever gets him, everybody ends up embracing their own no matter what, as long as they're good to them. If they're in their jersey, they want to find reasons to root for them, and they'll circle the wagons and tell everybody else go to hell, and everybody else will look at them and say, look at the dirtbag you just got. That's sports. But I don't know all the facts. I don't want to judge. So I understand both points of view.
Yeah. I don't have all the details, and I'm really glad that I don't have to have a strong stance on this, because it's horrible. And most, sexual assaults cases that actually do occur get dismissed because not enough evidence. I mean, those are the facts. So, and if Deshaun Watson was a 32-year-old running back, nobody would touch him. It's because he's a 25-year-old quarterback that teams, given the gray area, would still line up to get him. So, thank God for Russell Wilson is what I'll say on that one. Thank God also for Mark Schrader coming in. Good morning, guys. I like what George Paton has done this far and don't think he has done yet. Who do you think would be a nice pickup that's still available? For me, the positions that are still ones, I'm still watching Lael Collins, and that's something we got to circle back to too. Tom Compton coming in, he raises the floor of the room. If Lael Collins is released outright, you still should make the move.
Compton,
I have to.
We said it at the top, Nick. Compton does not prevent you from going after another right tackle.
Nope. But he makes it where if the situation plays out where you don't get a right tackle, you don't have to be desperate to make that move, which is that's really the key. You want to make sure you fill those needs where you're not desperate and making stupid decisions, bypassing better talents, better investments, because if you don't select position X, your whole team is sunk and you can't operate what you want to do. Compton should at least make it where you're not operating from a position of true weakness. But who's still available? If Lael Collins becomes available, that's somebody you should bet. But I still think the Broncos could use another defensive tackle, nose tackle potentially. There's a bunch still on the market. Eddie Goldman was released. He interests me. Michael Pierce was released. He interests me. Mike Purcell, I'm sorry, he's been fine. He's been injured though. You can save, I think, about $4 million cutting him. See ya maybe. So another defensive lineman makes sense. Another edge rusher makes sense, especially one with some inside-outside versatility. I would personally be over the moon if the Broncos could bring in Jadeveon Clowney, because the Broncos don't have anybody like him, and you have worries about Randy Gregory and rundowns. Guess what? Put in Clowney on there because you're going to rotate these guys anyway. None of the defensive linemen are playing 100% of the snaps, period. Having Clowney out there where he can play outside and base and then kick in and play 5 technique or 3 technique in sub package, beautiful. God, talk about a totally different body type there and a different type of rusher than what you have. Trey Flowers, kind of the discount version of him. He was just released by the the Lions. Would be interested in that. And then obviously a defensive back. You could probably use another safety. You definitely have to find somebody who can play slot. People say, Sang Bassey did there. Did you ever see Monsters University, the second one?
Oh, I've got kids.
Okay. The scene where
I had someone ask me one time, so you've got a daughter, right? You see Frozen? I asked her, I said, you mean today? Yeah, I've seen Monsters U. I'm a big fan of the Monsters
the scene where he's like the snail is getting off the bus and like trudging along and not going anywhere. That's a Sang Bassey trying to play the slot versus a crosser. I'm sorry, man. He just can't move. No, giddy up. Now I'm more interested in Nate Hairston there from the slot than Sang Bassey. God, that just came at that guy's life. Sorry, Bassey. It's just your undrafted free agent, not looking very good. That just because he's an undrafted free agent slot corner doesn't make him the next Chris Harris Jr. They need a slot no matter what. That's the next must get. After that, it's kind of filling out the depth, edge rusher, another defensive back, et cetera, et cetera. I know there's some Bobby Wagner talking here, and the Broncos brought in Bobby Wagner. I'd be fine. It's not what I would do. You're paying more for it's like you're paying the extra price to get an Apple or a MacBook for the logo on it versus what the actual product is. Not to totally disparage Apple, but it's like that. You're paying for the brand. You're paying for the brand more than the product. So that's, and also, I don't believe in fully investing in linebackers that much anyway. So that's where I sit.
All right. Now I have to roll back. Let's see. I think he started that at 38 minutes.
Oh,
so
here's Dave. So Dave.
Dave's back. Yes, Dave. Dave, I got to go in. The chat jumped when we were trying to block a bot, and I looked down. It says US Dave is blocked. Wait, what happened? Dave, welcome back in. I was like, please go to Facebook. If you hear us, Dave, go to Facebook. We'll get it fixed. And Nick's going to buy you a mug.
Oh, my
One
God.
of the positions you didn't talk about, let's get another tight end, right? I think another tight end needs to come in, whether it's cheap. Look at Austin Hooper, good pass catcher. Look at Hayden Hurst, 2 former Falcons who have good production, who are still young-ish, 27, 28 years old. So I think you're gonna get a new tight end. And again, isn't it fun talking about filling not even needs, but reinforcing positions? And we haven't even gotten to the draft.
Yeah.
This is we're playing on house money here. House money.
Yeah, we are. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Broncos still have a little bit of cap space. Poor US, Dave. We're glad you're back. Michaela Israel coming in. Shout out to our Mile High Huddle ladies. Always Jasmine as well coming in. Kathy coming in as well. It's awesome. Really fun to see you guys join us in here because, it's obviously football is it has been historically more of a male dominated interest, but we love
it's always been 95% men. I mean, I've been in this space for 20 years. The NFL fans, it's like 51-49.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
thanks for joining in. We like to do this. And Michaela, what do you say to those who don't think Russ is actually good?
I say to them what I say to the people who are saying Kenny Young is better than Josie Jewell. Learn ball. No, it's totally disparage them. No, I think you can make an argument that Russell Wilson is not a transcendent elite quarterback right now. I think that if you're saying that Russell Wilson is a top 3 quarterback in the NFL right now, I'll listen to you. And I think there's an argument to be had there. But to say that he's not actually good, to say that he's not a franchise quarterback,
that he's a negative to your team, I mean, that's what not good means to me. That you're hurting the team by being out there. That's what not good means to me. That's insane.
Yeah. You know what? This is a good topic right here. Let's lean into this. Thank you, Michaela. We'll if there's any supers that come in, we'll get to it. But let's go down the list here of how far you would rank quarterbacks and when Russell Wilson becomes available. Does that sound good, Scott? Obviously, you need to pull up a list of
I'm gonna go
what the quarterbacks are right now. But
I always type in ref for reference. I like the plain, nice, clean of sportsreference.com.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I am really interested in your thoughts here. So quarterbacks right now, and you guys can keep us accountable here that what we're talking about. But top quarterbacks right now in order. My number 1 quarterback in the NFL, and let's think about it as purely the 2022 season because it's obviously a different argument, like the next decade versus because you wouldn't put Aaron Rodgers number 1 for the next decade.
No, I want you to think right now. We're playing the 2022 season. Forget age, forget upside, forget all that crap.
100%.
Playing next year. Where are we on this?
So number 1 for me next year, I think you have to pick the back-to-back MVP as much as I'm ready to completely poop on Aaron Rodgers' life. Aaron Rodgers is number 1 for me. So do you agree with that, number 1?
Yeah, he's back-to-back MVP. I mean, I don't think that's even a question. That's what, what do you say to somebody? And again, Michaela, I like to say, 1, I don't argue levels of elite. So if you were to say, I like Patrick Holmes better, I'd say, okay, he's pretty damn good. I wouldn't argue with you. And the other ones I'm not arguing with are people that won't change their minds or closed-minded about it. Russell Wilson sucks. What would I say to that person? Nothing. They're not worth talking to, honestly.
You're a troll. You're a troll.
They're not. That's not worth engaging in a discussion, but it's not worth my time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes I say that to Nick. I say, Nick, I'm not changing my mind on this, so don't bother trying to convince me. Just save your breath.
I'm going to be like a glacier over time, Scott, just kind of slowly grinding you away. It's going to take millennia, but eventually I'll break you down into sand and back to the ocean we'll go. God, really dark there. So number 2 for me would be Patrick Mahomes. I know that's going to kind of upset some people in here. There's some arguments for other guys, but Mahomes, I think it's the stat is A-N-Y over A it's like average net yardage over attempts, and he's historically the best quarterback ever in that statistic because of the explosive plays. You definitely want to see what it looks like when Travis Kelce starts to go away, Andy Reid's going to go away, Tyreek Hill's going to lose his speed, but what he's done to start is it's too dynamic. So I'm going to go Mahomes number 2. You still with me, Scott, on that one?
Yeah, and then it starts getting interesting, because for me, watching Josh Allen at his best, he might be number 1. What he's doing right now, he might be number 1, but he's not always at his best yet. He hasn't reached that level as a professional where you can count on him to get his best every game.
So
That's part of a maturation process and
mhm.
preparation and experience that I'd have a hard time not picking him 3.
Okay, I was gonna say Tom Brady 3 if we're just talking next
Mhm.
season, but I'm fine doing Allen 3, then I'll say Brady 4. Just again, it's talking 2022. Brady still played incredible last season.
Yeah, he led the
Um,
league in yards at
yeah,
44 years old.
yeah, unbelievable. He's a cyborg. It's really upsetting. So I would do Brady 4. Then after that, I think you really start to have an argument for some other guys. This is gonna maybe make some people a little bit upset and saddened here, but number 5 for me, I'm honestly gonna put Justin Herbert. He hasn't won anything. You have a sample size of 2. Russell Wilson hasn't won anything in the last 2 years either. Doesn't make him a bad quarterback. It just means that the situation around him hasn't been good enough.
And
But
I would probably go Matt Stafford there.
okay,
I'd go Matt Stafford ahead of Justin Herbert. Matt Stafford got criminally underrated because he was playing for Detroit. I mean,
yeah,
you take them off of that team, and it's just, I mean, they were bad anyway.
yeah.
Now you take him off of that team, and it's just you saw what Matt Stafford could do. The arm talent that Matt Stafford has is absolutely elite. He's I'd go Matt Stafford ahead of Herbert for sure.
I would not, but that's
Mhm.
okay. So I Stafford
It's an
6.
argument again. There,
Yeah,
there's I wouldn't try and change your mind either. They're close enough that it comes down to almost a personal preference. What do you want in your quarterback?
yeah, no, absolutely. And after that, so we have 6 quarterbacks named now. I think I'd put Wilson next. I think Wilson would be 7,
And I
which
and I
is
don't I would be okay with Russell Wilson as high as 5.
yep,
So in that same neighborhood. So to go back into it and say, what would you say to people that say he's not good? I'd say, well, he's on that same tier, maybe even a notch above, depending on, get Matthew Stafford out of Detroit, and you'll see what you have
mhm,
with Matthew Stafford. Let's
yep,
get Russ Wilson back out of Seattle, and we'll see exactly what we've got with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson could end up being a top 3 quarterback again. So
100%.
in that,
And
some of the other guys you're talking about here, Kirk Cousins statistically was 4th. Dak Prescott was 3rd when you sort by QB rating. Kyler Murray was 8th. He's a different type of quarterback. Believe it or not, the guy this one's crazy that he has a 20-12 touchdown to interception
Jimmy
ratio.
G,
So he must just take a ton of shots. Who has is was 9 overall? Was Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. That's
Jimmy G.
his system. It's the same reason I'm skeptical of Compton being the number 4 overall run blocker.
Yeah, I mean,
Names
usually the big one on there is touchdown to interceptions ratio and completion percentage. That might be his. By completion percentage, he was 6th.
yeah,
Those are the 2 big ones.
he led the league in turnover worthy plays too. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's
So the none again. So you can't just look at stats. That's why we didn't.
yeah,
We didn't. Josh Allen was like 16th, and that's
yeah,
why I don't have him higher because I watched him go out and throw 3 interceptions against the Falcons,
yeah,
and just decide, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to run the ball. But that's
yeah,
part of what makes him good. And then he goes, as Nick likes to call it, God mode. And good morning, Roy. You're a little late, and I'm a little late saying hello. So
yeah,
appreciate you being here. And Howie frickin' Day, also appreciate the stars. But yeah, I mean, I think you're talking in the neighborhood 4 to 7, anywhere in that range for Russell Wilson. So what would you say to
yeah,
someone that says Russell Wilson isn't actually any good? I wouldn't say anything.
yeah,
Unless you came in here and said Russell Wilson isn't very good, Scott, what do you say? Then it's my job to respond. I'd
yeah,
say no ball, learn
yeah.
ball, like Nick
Learn
says.
ball,
So
learn
I
ball.
disagree. I think Russell Wilson is a very good quarterback. He's got 9 Pro Bowls to prove it. He may have been on the decline statistically over the last couple of years. So has Seattle. Seattle's been on the decay. Now they're on the rebuild. Now they're rebuilding,
Yep.
and they just got some pieces from the Seattle Seahawks, from the Denver Broncos, in order to try and accelerate that rebuild.
Yeah, and people a lot of Burrow's better than Herbert. Burrow's better than Herbert. I think there's an argument there, but Herbert's 3 years younger, has been playing on a worse offense. The Herbert's 2020 offensive line. People get upset about the Broncos offensive line. The 32nd ranked pass blocking unit and the 31st ranked run blocking unit. It's unbelievable how bad they were. So I think Herbert, God, he's he's incredible. I know that there's some people like Robert Mays in the Athletic, Nate Tice, former son of Mike Tice, who coached the Vikings, former head coach of the Vikings, say Herbert's the best quarterback in the NFL entering next season. I'm not that high on him, but there's some people who really know ball, screaming how good Herbert is. So we'll see. But I rounded out my top guys. So I had Wilson 7, Burrow 8, Watson 9 with an asterisk there, and then Lamar Jackson 10. But you have Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr, all right in there as well. But I would say that Russell Wilson's not a tier 1 quarterback. he's tier 2. And to be tier 2, you have a chance, baby. It's more about what you can do around the quarterback at that point versus levels of elite.
Guess who else was tier 2 on this? Because we didn't even mention Joe Burrow, and we mentioned Matthew Stafford in that same breath. Guess who else was tier 2? The two Super Bowl quarterbacks were tier 2.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%.
So, tier 1 didn't win a playoff game.
Nope.
Aaron Rodgers didn't win one, and
Mahomes
got knocked out by one of the other guys. So you're in the conversation. You don't have to have the best quarterback. You don't have to have the best. You have to have the best team.
Yep.
And not always the best players make the best team.
Yep. Quarterback gets you a chance, and then the team takes you to the promised land. Right? You don't get the ticket. The quarterback is ticket to entry more than anything. John Clay Evington coming in $5. The interesting thing about the AFC West is the division winner in all likelihood will be a best in 11 win team, third seed, given a tough division. Yeah, maybe that's another reason that Von Miller went to the Bills because while the AFC East is not the NFC South as far as issues, although if Deshaun Watson's coming there soon and Tom Brady, we can totally put that one to bed. We can make fun of the NFC East again instead of the South. But the AFC West is going to be tough, and I can't think of the Bills probably have the easiest path of any team in the AFC right now because I'm not a Mac Jones believer. I don't think that Tua's a great quarterback either. I think Mac Jones is fine, but he's fine because he's on a rookie contract. And I'm also the Jets are laughable, so that makes sense.
And Vaughn went to the Bills because they're one stop away from the AFC Championship game, and they gave him $50 million. That's a pretty good combination.
Yeah.
If you don't mind living in Buffalo's not the most glamorous place in the world. Going from LA, it's very different, but that's a good deal for a good team. So that was a good deal for Von Miller.
Yeah.
If Chandler was $17 million, coming in, Jay Milzo Ryan, appreciate you, Jay. If Chandler was $17 million a year, could we afford Bobby Wags, or does a Jewel signing put that to rest? Also excited for Ojemudia. Please stay healthy. Yeah, that hamstring injury bothered me at the beginning.
Yeah,
and I said as much. We could roll it back, and I could bring it up. It's like that it scares me a little bit. The hammy scares me. And unfortunately, it pretty much ended his season. Does the Jewel signing put Wagner to rest? Nope, I don't think so. Not at $5 million a year with plenty of money left. If that's the guy, there isn't anything that's off the table, in my opinion. Nothing. If the right guy for the right price, you've got the money to sign anybody you want to. Now, do you want to go spend that all on one guy? Probably not an inside linebacker. Probably not a tight end. Probably not a wide receiver. But you could. There's money to be spent. You could go get Devontae Adams and offer him 4 years, $125 million. You could pull it off. Yeah. And Ethan came in. I scrolled past it, and I didn't mean to, talking about that could easily clear up another 25. It's 13 right now. I think I said 16 and could be 40. It was 13 and could be 40. So appreciate you, DWI guys, Ethan. And then Kathy also had one right here that matters to me. Not that they all don't, but I can't find it. Where did you go?
Buffalo's O-line isn't quite
good.
Go
ahead and pick one that you wanted to.
Was it that one? Let's say hello to Glenda Lee as well.
Scroll past it.
Glenda, good to see our Mile High Huddle ladies here. We also got Daniel Chavez, who I believe earlier said this is his first time joining us live. So thank you so much, Daniel. We appreciate you. Hey, Nick, any moves in the cornerback room? Nothing impending. I think the Broncos were very interested in bringing in Darius Williams, and he ended up picking the Jaguars because that's his hometown team. So I get it. Also, they paid him quite handsomely. And the guarantees, sometimes people say, oh, he spurned different offers. Well, this team offered him way more guaranteed money. So really, it looks bigger on the sticker price, but sticker price isn't always the reality. Kathy coming into, as a woman and a Broncos fan, I'm glad we traded for Russ and not for Watson. Is that the one, Scott?
Yeah, this is what I was looking for. This is what matters. If I'm in business, I want to know. I want to know who are the women that are working for me. That are working in the building that I'm working with. Not necessarily for. What do you think? We got a chance to bring this guy in. Do you want to meet him? Do you want to hear his side? Do you want to read this? We've got this testimony. Are you interested, or is this just a no starter for you? I want to know. Again, we're talking 50% of the league fans are women, and basically the other 50% listen to the women. So it's important, and to know how this is, and we'll see. We'll see how this shakes out. There's going to be some blowback because he's going to be on the move soon to probably New Orleans. Maybe Atlanta, maybe Carolina, maybe Cleveland. I would put my money on the Saints right now. So we will see. But appreciate the comment.
Yeah, and Scott, I got some news for you. Apparently, Deshaun Watson met again with the Saints last night for a second meeting. So, not sure what's happening there, but I see the Saints cleared a bunch of money as well. So, maybe that's happening there.
Yeah, and
Um,
I feel like we missed this one, so I'm glad I
yeah,
got
we
to
did.
scroll back up too. And Glenda, thanks for the stars as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks, Glenda. That's awesome. Glenda also has a question come in, but let's get to Diamond Rattler first. Kendall, have you watched The Mayor of Easttown? I haven't yet. My wife loved it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. With how much outdoor activity that I do and how much I work doing my 40 hours a week job on top of this, I don't watch that much television, especially to have as much. I don't want to pump myself too much, but to consume as much football and to be able to talk about it with you guys at the level that I do, I watch unbelievable amounts of football, college football too, man. Unbelievable amounts of college football. So I have not watched Mayor of Easttown yet. It's one of the 10,000 shows that is on my list of ones that I want to get on. That hopefully at some point I will watch. Right now, my wife and I have been watching. After she's begged me for years, we've been watching Grey's Anatomy. We're not going to watch the 26 seasons of that, but
My wife was watching Grey's Anatomy when I lived in Georgia the first time.
yeah, no,
Like
it's
Jesus.
yeah, it's a lot. We're not gonna watch it all the way, but I need to watch so many shows. Jasmine coming in. My husband says Russell Wilson isn't good anymore, and I made him sleep on the couch to say he sucks as a mental illness. Can't wait until he proves people wrong. Yeah, it's he's trolling you, man. Anybody who believes that is either dumb or knows what they're doing and trying to get under your skin. So just
Yeah,
that's one of those things where, I said it last time. People are always talking about, Nick, just you wait, XYZ is gonna happen. I'm like, you know what? We just have to wait.
I'll
Due
still be
time.
here.
We're gonna find
I'll
out.
still be here. I used to say that about the LA sports press when I would see things that were just ridiculous in the paper. I'm like, are these guys just stupid or intellectually dishonest?
Yeah.
Which is it? And most of the time, I think they were. Well, I'm still not sure, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying that about your husband. I have a feeling he's just trying to pull your strings.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, rightfully so. I do that to my wife as well. It's a gift that keeps on giving. KB82 coming in. Kenneth, good to see you, Kenneth. What's it like to be a Dallas fan, losing Gregory the way they did, and then missing out on Vaughn and Chandler? Dallas is the person who married their the high school, the football player. Let's say we'll talk about it from the female perspective, and they never went to college or anything, and they got that beer gut and they're balding and whatnot. It's like, well, they used to be really good, but they stuck with them. You know what? So God, I started to feel like, those Dallas fans, they were bandwagon early, but the ones who are still there with the amount of like hype that they get, I almost respect the Dallas fans at this point, because it's like, it's sad. I kind of like, oh man, you were something, and now look at you. Yeah, married to a has been. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough out there. So sorry, Dallas
That
fans.
silver helmet's still nice and shiny.
Yeah,
But the thing is, it's always I kind of say it about Notre Dame. It's like Notre Dame hasn't really been relevant in my lifetime,
yeah,
but it's still Notre Dame. People are still watching. They're still getting good ratings. Relevant from a competitive standpoint. I mean, they're still relevant by ratings and all the airtime they get and that type of thing. So what's it like to be a Dallas fan losing Gregory the way they did? I think they have a right to be pissed. They
and then
do.
Vaughn.
And yeah, but as far as the Gregory one, Vaughn, okay, we miss this guy. That happens, at free agency. But when you go out and you stick by a guy like that who you took a chance, you've rewarded the guy, and you think you've got a deal, and then you don't, they've got a right to be pissed. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a little bit of a red flag for me, not a huge one. It's business. Trust me. If it was the other way around, they've cut 100 guys just like it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fan, they've got a right to be pissed about this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jasmine says her husband's a Falcons fan, so I ignore him. So maybe he should come hang out with Scott and I on Wednesdays, and maybe tomorrow, if Scott, if there's something that happens with Watson, I'll join you tomorrow. We'll
go
hang out
live, and we'll see. And like I said, I want to listen.
Yep.
Nick and I always talk about, where I was a math guy and Nick's a scientist. We both want as much information as we possibly can. I want to listen. Being closed-minded isn't what you think, it's how you react to what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to know, it's like, well, from a football point of view, I can make the case why giving up 3 first-round draft picks for Deshaun Watson makes sense, even for a team that's threadbare as the Atlanta Falcons. But again, y'all have heard me say this before. We're not playing these games on spreadsheets. We're not playing these games on Madden. There's people involved. Lots of people, millions of fans, employees, and everything. And I want to know, I'd want to know what you think. I do. I want to know what you think. So appreciate y'all chiming in.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much, Caleb. We also had the stars from Jacob Foster again supporting us. Also, Glenda gave us support earlier. So I want to bring back this one because I think also this one's a little bit funny to me. Appreciate this support, Glenda. Thanks for joining us today. Glenda says, it's the first time that I feel that all the ranks are on the same page. There's new professional happening. Bring Wagner. I'm like, yes, yes. The way I can't bring myself to pay a linebacker. I would have been fine.
What's it cost? Again, that's what I always say.
Okay, if
I
he's
don't want Aaron Rodgers and it costs too much. You don't know what it costs.
Yeah,
you don't know what it would have cost to bring him in. I don't want Russell Wilson. It's going to cost too much. Let's just run it back with Drew. You don't know what it's going to cost. Yeah. So what's it going to cost? Wagner says, you know what? The hell with it. I want to come in for a 1 year, $5 million deal.
Okay,
here's your contract.
Okay, now I'm in. But he was set to make 18 million this year. 16
can he help your team? Yes, he can. Now, what's the cost?
Yeah. Exactly. So that's the one where I'm like, now they have Jewel, Jonas Griffith, Baron Browning. I think they also might still bring back Micah Kaiser for some depth as well. The draft, God, Scott, I absolutely love the linebackers day 2, early day 3 this year. There's going to be 10 starters drafted outside the first round at the off-ball linebacker spot. It's that talented. We got Arthur coming in, and Broncos still have needs on the defensive line and defensive backs. That said, there is something to be said about the human element. If Russ and Bobby Wagner are actually that close, there's been a lot of conflicting reports on that one, which is weird. But if they are that close, maybe there's something to be said there about the human element, bringing him in for the leadership. But I think the Broncos are fine with Jewel, Browning, and Griffith next year. I'm more concerned about the depth in the defensive line, and especially the depth at the secondary right now. You don't have a single guy that I trust to play slot snaps, period. You don't. So DWI guys, if you talk about linebackers, he shall appear. No, Melvin Gordon's getting cheaper by the day. Thank you so much, Ethan. We appreciate you. That's another one, too. Broncos are going to start to do the more of the filling out the roster bargain bin shopping. And Melvin Gordon always going to be too expensive. Not if the market leaves him wanting. Maybe he does want to come back. This is where having Russell Wilson also changes things as well. You know, do I want to come back and play with my former college teammate on a team that now looks like they're going somewhere? Maybe. And I know there's been a lot of I've heard some comments about why would the Broncos bring back Melvin Gordon? He fumbles the ball too much, which he does. Yes, we can agree on that. Why not bring back Philip Lindsay?
Because he's not as good.
He's not as good. And also Philip Lindsay is such an absolute liability in pass protection that if he's in the backfield, you know it's a run because you're not leaving him out there to pass block. And you're concerned about your right tackle. You have Compton there with Lindsay as your last line of defense. Russell Wilson might as well just take a freaking knee. Seriously. So that's if Melvin Gordon's cheaper, you can help Javonte Williams. You can become a 50-50 balance team. Your play action game becomes better. I'm not interested in paying him a big contract, but if he wants something like 2 years, 8 million, where
I was going to say, this is Scott. I'm Melvin's agent, George. I'm on the phone with you. We'll come in for 1 year, 5.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, say the numbers again. Sorry,
1 year, $5 million.
The agent said that?
Yeah, no, I'm being the agent. You're George Payton. Sign me or not. This is it.
Nope. Sorry, buddy. That's
okay,
too much.
Well, we're going somewhere else then. Thank you. Okay.
I think
for 5, I might, depending on what else is going. And there's some good conversation going on in here with Jeremy saying, give Gordon $3 million and call it a day. Offer. Yeah, he'd turn it down now. Come July, he might take it. And then as Ethan says, he still owes us from last contract. And I kind of got that feeling, Julio Jones is getting waived by the Tennessee Titans. I'm like, all right, well, kiss and make up and offer him $2 million a year because he counts $15.5 million on the cap this year anyway for the Atlanta Falcons. You might as well get a catch from it or something. Jesus.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good comment. I guess if I was George Payton, I'd be offering Melvin Gordon a 2-year, $7.5 million deal where he counts about 3.5 against the cap next year. And unfortunately, the way the contract is set up, that second year is essentially a team option. We'll see if he's here or not, but that's the type of deal that I'm interested in bringing Melvin Gordon in at next year. I know the fumbles are an issue, but you want to get the best out of Javonte Williams. I don't know if he right now has the ability to be a a true bell cow back, and you want the explosive, fun runs from Javonte Williams, you probably don't want him carrying the rock 20, 25 times a game alone. You're
I like
you're taking
15
away
to
from him.
20. Again, they were
Yeah.
averaging about 25 carries. So if you're talking 18 touches and give 7 to someone else, is Boone good enough to be that other
Yeah.
7? Speaking of clearing up cap space, I think you can clear some up for him. He was getting paid a lot for a third guy, but he was being paid as a number 2. Well, here's your chance. Here's your number 2.
Yep. And you still have Javonte Williams on a super cost-controlled deal. So it's not like
I think Boye went 41 inches on the vertical yesterday at his pro day.
He's not falling to the Broncos. He's going to go in
Yeah.
the first round. I really hope he doesn't go to the Kansas City Chiefs. Apparently, there's some goo eyes going on between those two right now. So, yeah, I mean, who knows how the draft, where the Chiefs will be picking. But he's going to go in the back end of the first round. And as much as I'd love him in Denver, I think would be silly to trade up that far in the draft. The only way they should trade up into the first round is if Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu fall to like pick 31. And that's not happening. So, all right. Gears Gains Games, $2. Saying spinning wheel, give Boone a chance. Denver Broncos for life. Yeah,
or cut him. I mean, he was way overpaid for what he did last year, which wasn't much. But again, I looked at that. Of course, you said you told me. See, I wasn't involved when he signed the contract. They paid him his contract as the number 2 before they went and got Javonte Williams.
You don't know if Williams is going to fall to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So exactly. That's okay. So okay, and then and Triple G. Appreciate the support. That feels like a new name for us. So thank you for coming in. Got almost 400 people watching today. So appreciate y'all liking and sharing and subscribing and reaching more Broncos fans just like you and converting some others. There's going to be some disgruntled fans out there. You might have some Cowboys fans end up headed over here. And I'm positive you're going to have some Seahawks fans jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah. And we got Kathy too. Late round pick. Do you guys think of Kune Dang, linebacker from Cal? He played inside, was supposed to play outside the season, got hurt early in the season. I'm going to be honest with you, Kathy. I try to watch as little Pac-12 football as possible for a team that hasn't won a bowl game since 2019 for the entire conference. I'm just busting all you Buffalo or Colorado Buffalo fans in here, but I'll definitely get to him. It's kind of hard to watch everybody, so I try to dabble in the top 150, and the guys that tend to go, 250 or later, haven't watched them. So I'll put him in my, I'll write him down and hopefully get around to him at some point. But I'm still looking for Troy Anderson at Montana State tape. That is of any quality, that doesn't look like pixels running around out there.
When I first moved out to California, there was a Stanford Cal game or Cal Washington or somebody. I couldn't have been watching because Washington is support. I think it was Stanford Cal, and both teams were really good. They're both top 15. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, let's get into this. SEC guy, live and breathe college football. I get out there and I'm like, there's like 14 people in the stands.
Yep.
I'm like, man, if you don't care, why should I? Just getting back to that, I try not to watch Pac-12 football. I'm like, I kind of stopped watching them at that point. I'd still watch UCLA and USC, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the Colorado fans a little bit of gruff because, and I'm out in Pac-12 country, but I need to get myself to a Washington Huskies game at some point. Beautiful stadium on Lake Washington.
It's loud. You'll have fun. That's a good atmosphere.
I'm excited for that. I'll have to do that at some point. I'm honestly more interested in that than a Seahawks game, except for when the Broncos come next year. Mark coming in saying, do you guys think we'll bring back Kareem Jackson back if the price works? I think that the Broncos are looking at the safety market, and if they are able to make a solid move at the slot cornerback position first, then KJ Jackson back would be great. Honestly, if they can bring back Bryce Callahan and Kareem Jackson, not KJ Jackson, Kareem Jackson, I would be very happy with that. That's talk about spackling that back part of your roster, which is where you're at right now with your salary cap. And I don't think the Broncos are going to spend every single penny they have in salary cap room because a lot of those cap hits next year get bigger. What does that mean? If you have cap space, it means you can make a move if something comes available, but also you can roll over that cap to give yourself more space next year to account for the increased cap hits next season. So it's really just more of an accounting move than anything for that space. But for the right price, yes, I think Kareem Jackson would come back. I'm really interested in, again, if Tyrann Mathieu wants to come here, I'd be really interested. And also a guy I really love for this defense, if they want to play more dime, Tart, who was the third safety for the 49ers last year. I think he's probably one of the best dime backers, third safeties in the NFL. He's absolutely incredible there. I really loved Hart, man. He's so good. I know he dropped that interception versus the Rams that might have won them the game, but he's incredible on that second level. He's essentially, you guys want a tight end stopper, Tart's a guy to keep an eye on for. We'll see what his market looks like, but I like him a lot.
So we're getting close. We were about 10 minutes late, so we're making up for it by going 15 minutes over. We're about done. So if you got any final questions, go ahead and start getting them in quick, because we're going to call it a day. And again, if anything pops, Friday is the only free day that Nick and I have as far as going live goes. But if anything pops, we might do do something emergency tomorrow morning. So make sure you're following us on Twitter. We'll announce that stuff, and make sure you're hitting those like and subscribe buttons, not to this channel, but to mine as well, because we're being one of those places.
Yeah, and this is Jeremy, you're not wrong. I love my home state of Iowa here. He says too much to do in Cali, nothing else to do in Iowa. I wouldn't say there's nothing else to do in Iowa, but you have a lot more options here. And also the thing that makes it really tough for me sometimes out here in the Pacific Northwest is your outdoor alpine season is July to September. And guess what? That almost overlaps exactly with football. So, it's rough sometimes. Roy Osborne coming in saying, I'm from Montana and watched quite a few Montana State games. Here's what I can say about Troy Anderson. He's fast, and the guy literally tears people's heads off when he hits. He's awesome. He ran a 4.41. Even if you say that, let's say that's a 4.51, that's blazing for a linebacker. He tested similarly to Devin White and Devin Bush. That's who I think he lines up with his athletic testing.
I feel like he's bigger than Bush.
I think he's much bigger than Bush.
6'3.5", 245 with a 36-inch vert. I feel like I always thought that Bush was like in the 6'1" range, like he was a little smaller, but that's just my perception of remembering these things.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He's really fast. I think Mel Kiper has said that he's going round 2, even though he went to Montana State and he's still just learning the linebacker position. Also, people say this guy he sweats football. Like that, one of those kind of like freaks. He's like the all-time leader in like rushing yards for Montana State. He won Offensive Player of the Year for his conference. Then he went over and won Defensive Player of the Year for his conference too.
I mean, that's incredible. I don't care if it's a lower level of college. That's on the college level to do that is incredible.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. He looked really, really good at the Senior Bowl as well. He's going to have to do some work as far as run fits and processing, because sometimes he's a little bit eager, and he'll get his hips. He'll take the cheese and get his hips lined up wrong. And when you do that as a linebacker, you're in big trouble. But the athleticism he had can make up for that. And he's just kind of coming together with it. Also, let's say year 1, he's kind of more rotational, even though he's a round 2 pick. He's going to be a special teams dynamo year 1 with his mentality and physicality and athleticism. So like him a lot. And that's another reason everybody's like, oh, Denver has to go offensive tackle at pick 64. If Troy Anderson's sitting there at pick 64 and you take, a day 3 graded tackle, you done messed up. George Payton, he's not going to do that, but that's just terrible business. That's a terrible draft strategy. That's how you pick busts. And guess what? The offensive tackle, you have Compton now. It's probably going to be a need again next season. So do not take a worse player at a position of need because you feel desperate. That's how you make bad picks.
Other cap casualties too. You never know. It's like, oh my God, it's July and so just became available. Oh, sorry. We spent all our money on the guy that we didn't really want. Now we can't.
Yep. And one last one. Ethan, Nick thinking we don't need a linebacker. LOL. I don't think we don't need a linebacker. I just think that
need is different.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think that Broncos are going to be more than fine going into next season with Griffith, Browning, Jewell, and one more guy, whether that be a draft pick or a free agent. It's a position where I wouldn't touch again until the draft. And if you get one that you like that falls to you, awesome. Your position's rounded out. If the board doesn't fall that way, hey, Micah Kaiser, you're still a free agent. You played the scheme before. Ejiro Evero. Come on back, buddy. Come on home. We're going to have a good time. That's what my thinking is at that position. You
needed an upgrade at quarterback. That's what you needed. You need the interior line to step up. You need more pressure off the edge. You need to stop the run better.
You need a slot as well. Now they do
a slot. Yeah, it's not. But again, it's not, to me. It's not the whole that if you're not if you don't get any pressure on the quarterback, your defense is going to struggle. That's going to make it tough. Yeah. But a slot guy is one of 11, as opposed to I've got a fundamental problem with my defense that we can't stop the run when it matters, and I'm always in 3rd and 2.
Yep, absolutely. Well, guys, we went late, or we got in 6 minutes late. We went 20 minutes over, so hopefully you got your feed there. US Dave, if you're still here, shoot.
I'll fix it. I'll fix it, Dave. Thanks for coming over and finding us on Facebook. I'll get it fixed.
Yeah, but we should send Dave a coffee mug for my mistake because he's a real one in here, and we appreciate him. Shout out to all. I mean, I'm absolutely loving the Mile High Huddle ladies coming in here and starting to join us on this show. It's definitely not because of our looks. I mean, I could be sponsored by Gap over here. Well, me and Michael Strahan got the same dentist, but appreciate
I
you
was a
guys.
lot prettier when I was Nick's age.
Scott, you're still beautiful. I mean, God, we must be doing something right because we both outkicked our coverage. So that's can't complain.
I've already had that discussion with my daughter. I'm like, listen, I don't care if you. She's 10, so she's 5th grade.
Yep.
I'm like, listen, I don't care if you think he's cool. If he's a jerk, he's a jerk. Pick the nice guy. I'm nice to your mom, right? She's like, yeah. It's like, I'm kind of cool, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, there you go. There's what you're looking for.
Yeah. Sponsored by Gap. Yep, that's haha, Jeremy. I have never heard that one. My grandpa has the same Gap, and he's one of my favorite people on this entire planet. So homage to him. He fell and fractured his C2, so he's not doing great. So thoughts to my grandpa, who's been having a hard time right now. But thank you guys so much for joining us right now. Happy Thursday. We'll see you again next Monday, unless something breaking happens for the Falcons, and we'll see you on Scott's show tomorrow. Make sure you're following us on Twitter. Scott is at Scout Kennedy. I am at Nick Kendell MHH. I am overly on Twitter, addicted to Twitter. You can ask Scott. Hey Scott, here's more news. Hey Scott, I'm a bot at this point.
I don't need to set alerts. I've got Nick.
Yep, I'm here for you, Scott. But yeah, make sure you're following us on Twitter. And if we didn't get anything to you guys today on Twitter, please, at me if you have any questions or conversations. It's a lot of fun to talk about. So I appreciate it, and I will be probably not super effective at work today because the tournament tips off and my Hawkeyes play the Richmond Spiders. So it'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully Iowa doesn't get knocked out in the first round. Make sure you guys are following us at Huddle Up Pod as well as at Mile High Huddle. If you guys haven't done so yet, if you are on Facebook, make sure you're joining our community there, our groups there at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod, as well as facebook.com/Mile High Huddle. Please, if you're listening after the fact or you listen to podcasts at all, I absolutely love podcasts. Listen to podcasts constantly on 2x speed to keep consuming information. So that way I can put my spin on it and use it to be better informed so we can be better on here. But if you guys are going to if you can, go to Apple Podcasts, find the Huddle Up podcast, scroll down, leave a 5-star rating and a comment, say the gap in Nick's teeth sent me here. That would be greatly appreciated. I get a good laugh out of that one. But please, yeah.
Scott's forehead.
Yeah, there we go. We should just get the caricatures going.
I got a billboard.
I got a massive
this space.
Yeah, the 5-head going on here. Peyton Manning had one too, so that's okay. That's good company to be in. Guys, please subscribe, like, and share on YouTube if you have not done so yet, and appreciate everybody joining us on this platform. It's a lot of fun. Free agency is still going here. This team is starting to come together, and we have so much fun ahead of us. Make sure you guys join us in the future. We'll see you again on Monday morning for another episode of Broncos for Breakfast. Choose kindness, choose compassion. We love y'all. Go Broncos.